future of journalism education is very bright. I think that journalism actually and journalism education holds out a lot of hope for education in the future. And it's primarily because journalism is really the only subject in the high school and the college curriculum where students are actually writing about things that they care about in the real world, as opposed to writing about some subject like sociology or archaeology or something that happened hundreds of years ago, or even philosophy. So people are pretty interested in writing about those subjects, and as a result, the advantage in a high school setting is that students are really get passionate about what they're doing, and it also in America, we have a problem with dropouts, and I don't know if that's true in Europe, but it keeps kids in school because they're learning technical skills, they're learning communication skills on the side. They're not actually aware that they're learning these communication skills. They just think that they're writing about things that are important to them. And so the byproduct is really effective communication, written and oral. They also learn how to get along with each other, which is turns out to be a very important skill, not only for students, but it would be great if adults got along well, and so it would be great if countries got along well. And so this is the way I see journalism education. So in the United States today, at the university level, there is a boom in people signing up for journalism programs. It's kind of funny because the question is, why are they all signing up if it looks like journalists are, journalism is dying and newspapers are not going to be here anymore? So what is everybody signing up for? So it looks like media, the whole platform is changing, and but doesn't mean that journalism is actually changing. In fact, what we have in the future, I think, is hundreds or maybe even millions of citizen journalists, people that are going to be trained to write blogs and to contribute to blogs and to comment on blogs that have already been posted. And so it's not like today we're lacking information. In fact, we have more information than we ever had before, and we have information overload. So the question is, how are we going to sort through all this information? And that's a skill that can be taught in the high school. How to analyze information, data, websites, to make sure that what you're really seeing or reading is credible. Like, who's writing it, and what authority do they have to write it, and should I believe it? And that's what I am teaching in the program. If everybody or many students are going to become, quote, citizen journalists, unquote, so what's the role for a professional? Well, the professional is the one that's actually going to know how to gather information, analyze it, and write it up. So there's definitely a distinction between articles that are written for the New York Times and blogs that are just out there. And you can tell by just reading it. So the professional journalist is still going to be the person that is somebody who is trained and somebody who knows how to write, knows how to communicate, knows how to analyze. And they will be writing for websites. So today, a lot of them are still writing for newspapers, but maybe the newspaper will continue. I mean, I don't have a crystal ball, but they are definitely going to be professional websites. I do not see the professional websites disappearing. They're still going to be there. And if you look around Europe, there's, I'm sure, a lot of European news websites. In the United States, there's a lot of news websites. I know I read on a regular basis Al Jazeera website, which has amazing information, and it's licensed with Creative Commons licenses, all the work on Al Jazeera. So I can take that and I can look at it carefully. I can repost it. I can modify it. So I think there's still a huge role for professional journalists, and that's why I think that the people are signing up. for these graduate programs and undergraduate programs in communications, because they want to be part of this media revolution, and they want to be professionals. They don't want to just be like an engineer who on the side writes a blog, or a housewife, or a teacher, lawyer, doctor. They all will all have the skills, hopefully, to write these blogs, but you really want the information from somebody who spends most of their time analyzing information, as opposed to being, employed in another sector of society. As a journalist, by having multiple skills, not just how to write. So you also have to have some technical skills, not a lot, but you definitely need to know how to do some things on a website. It would be great if you also knew how to create a website. And, it turns out that isn't very hard these days. Anybody can create a website, anybody can create a blog. It'd be good if you had some design skills as well. And talk about being entrepreneurial. Entrepreneurial basically means if you have a great idea, you can do it easily on the web, and perhaps you can take some of those skills that you have and put them up on the web via a website or a blog. Get a group of people together and see what you can do. But there are also lots of websites that are hiring journalists. So being a journalist means you have really good communication skills. You can write really well, and everybody needs those. Everybody on the web, because let's face it, it's a communications-based device, and you have to be able to communicate effectively. Just look at all those websites that are, I'm sorry to say, not very good. And clearly there were people there that were writing for it, and I don't understand. They probably didn't have any training, because I can't understand what they're trying to say on those websites. So I think there's plenty of opportunity. You might not be writing news, or you might not be writing features, but maybe you'll do reviews, or maybe you'll be writing opinion pieces, or maybe you'll be doing some kind of analysis, or writing up about what's going on in a particular industry. There's plenty of opportunity out there.
Great.
You have to think about other paths other than the traditional path.